Hello, welcome. This is the Newspaper Review on TAF TV. My name is William Sabule, and this is where we bring you the headlines across newspapers in Nigeria. Well, you would like to participate. To do that, you will need to first subscribe to this channel and turn on the notification key. And you can also follow us on all other social media handles. We're on Facebook as TAF TV. On Instagram is TAF TV_NG. And on Twitter is at TAF TV. So do also follow us on all of these platforms for you to participate. And of course, also get notified whenever we bring you a new episode. For today, join us as we go straight to taking the headlines. All right, thank you for staying with us. We begin with the Daily Times newspaper for today, the 25th day of February 2022. And on that paper, we see, I have no intention of staying beyond 2 terms. Buhari says leaders who swear by Holy Book must not abuse public office. And on the top part of that paper, we see insecurity. El-Rufai prefers solution to end banditry. Recommends simultaneous land-air assaults across affected states. Next, we go to Nigerian News Direct newspaper. And on that paper, the headline out there says, Tinubu's presidential ambition, you've done well for payback. Oni Aromolara speaking there, I will move Nigeria from potential to reality. Tinubu vows, and that's the on page 23 of the Nigerian News Direct. And on the top part of that paper, we see bad fuel probe, imported PMS met NMPC product specification. Britannia U writes reps. And at the bottom part of that paper, we also see violation of court order. Scott Williams allegedly takes over FAAN facilities in Abuja, Lagos. If you need to get details of that story, please do well to pick Nigerian News Direct to get the details. Next, we'll go to Daily Trust newspaper for today, the 25th day of February 2022. And on that paper, the headline there says, Ukraine crisis. 12,000 students, other Nigerians trapped. We are living in fear, students. Parents are worried. Federal government arranges special flight operation for evacuation. All right, I'll take it again. Federal government arranges special flight operation for evacuation. And on Daily Trust, other news there, we see at the top part, investigations link police, military personnel to terrorism financing, El-Rufai. I'll take that again. It says, investigations link police, military personnel to terrorism financing, El-Rufai. Fuel price hike looms as marketers kick against 5 million naira shipment charge. And then lastly, on Daily Trust, I'll take this one. All of these are at the top part of that paper if you need to find it. It says, Electoral Act, 4 ministers, MDA heads to resign over 2023. We move on to the Daily Sun newspaper. And on Daily Sun newspaper, we'll go to the headline here. It says, 2023, businessmen to buy farm for Osibanjo and Mefiele under pressure. 2023, businessmen to buy farm for Osibanjo and Mefiele under pressure. Those insisting on zoning are lazy politicians, Kwankwanso. And that story is on page 26 and 29 of the Daily Sun newspaper. And on the top part of that paper, we see how gunmen killed policemen, 8 others in Enugu. That story is on page 4 and 5 of the Daily Sun newspaper. And at the bottom part of that paper, we see Opebi plane crash. You remember the helicopter that crashed about 2 years ago in Lagos at Allen Opebi. That says, that's what the story is about. It says, Opebi plane crash. Aircraft didn't have sufficient fuel to destination. AIB investigation reveals. And then lastly, at the very, very bottom part of the Daily Sun newspaper, we see court orders interim seizure of Okorocha's Abuja property. If you need to get the details of that story, it's on page 5 of the Daily Sun newspaper. Next, we go to This Day newspaper. And on This Day newspaper, we see global order in peril as Russia invades Ukraine. Global order in peril as Russia invades Ukraine. And on the top part of that paper, that is This Day newspaper, that is in first major post, PIA deal. Seplat acquires mobile producing oil assets in Nigeria. I'll take that again. In first major post-PIA deal, Seplat acquires mobile producing oil assets in Nigeria. And do well to pick a copy of this day newspaper to get that story. And lastly, on this day, let me take this one. It says, why Buhari settled for Adamu as consensus candidate for APC chair. So all of that story is on this day newspaper. So I'll move to Nigerian Tribune. And on Nigerian Tribune, we see fresh uproar in APC over party chair. That story is on page 5 of the Nigerian Tribune. And at the bottom part, we see Electoral Act. What will become law today? Ibrahim signs 119-page document. That story is on the page 25 of the Nigerian Tribune. And I'll take lastly this one. It says Putin begins his war, invades Ukraine. And that story is on page 20 of the Nigerian Tribune. And we'll move over to the Punch newspaper. And that will be the last paper I'll be taking this morning. But let's see what the headlines there look like. It says Russia-Ukraine war, stranded Nigerians send SOS to Buhari, demand evacuation. Federal government fails to provide timeline for evacuation as Ukraine shuts airspace. Experts slam government for delay as Nigerians in invaded nation, writes Buhari. Let me take that one again. It says experts slam government for delay as Nigerians in invaded nation, writes Buhari. And all that story is on page 2 of the Punch newspaper. So do well to pick a copy for yourself. And on the top part of the Punch, we see APC discussing zoning presidency to South, says El Rufai. APC discussing zoning presidency to South, says El Rufai. Buhari ignorant of Southwest infrastructural problems, Afeni Pere, and all of that. That story is on page 34 of the Punch newspaper. So do well to pick up a copy of the Punch newspaper and read up the story. That's the much we can take on the headlines. Next is our discussion commentary section. And if you'd like to participate, we'd like you to follow us on our social media handles by first subscribing to this YouTube channel. Subscribe, turn on notification, and follow us on other social media handles on Facebook, Instagram, and on Twitter. Stay with us as we bring you the conversations. Alright, we're still here on the Newspaper Review, and I've been joined by Mr. Victor Sioku, our regular commentator. Thank you once more for making it here today. Alright, we go straight to the headlines, and one of the very striking headlines is the war in Ukraine. Russia has finally, invaded Ukraine, and it has become a source of worry for many people, especially for Nigerians that are stranded in Ukraine. There's been a call for an immediate evacuation of these people. So my question is, what has led to the delay of evacuation of Nigerians resident in Ukraine? I mean, the call for war has been on for more than 2 months, or if it's been on more than that, And here we are at the very night hour where the airspace has been shut. That's when Nigerians are crying, especially the students. Parents are also crying to Buhari now. What's your take in this?
Just like you mentioned, the war is here.
Yeah.
It's quite sad.
It is. It's a sad one.
It's a dark period for the whole of the world. Okay. Now to the students. Records show that we have about 12,000 students in Ukraine.
Yeah. That's quite a number.
Yeah, 12,000 students in Ukraine. And yes, the news has been there, as in the tension about the war has been there, in as much as Putin was like, he was not going to attack, remember?
Yeah.
Okay, and February 20th, they were like, it will happen February 20th, that's the end, towards the end of the Olympics. But reports came out again that he's not going to strike. So, and the Nigerian factor. Many of us as in Nigerians outside the shores of this country do not want to come back. So when it's not a sure thing that the war will happen, they will feel relaxed. And come to think of it, finances. By the time these guys take the risk of using maybe their last kobo, their last monies to make this trip, and this war does not happen, then they will now be scrambling for money to go back to
And
school.
we know that some of these people living there don't even have valid papers. Some of them are living there illegally. And to jump into an airplane that is evacuating people, by the time you get here to Nigeria, you're not going back. So I saw the statement from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Minister of Foreign Affairs Oyema, when he said, okay, yes, people that are ready to leave can leave. Make sure your papers are in order. And I know that there are many Nigerians living there that are living illegally, and that's another point.
And it was also shocking to me when the ambassador to Ukraine there in Kiev was like, man, you guys are on your own. Your security and your welfare belongs to you.
That is sad.
Not until the lawmakers yesterday, being Thursday, came to the floor of the House to say, see, guys, we need to find a way and bring back our kids.
Which is the right thing.
So they are trying to liaise with Peace Airline to go there and get there. But also, we should also note that the
airspace is short. At the moment, yes.
So how do they want Peace to do this? Do they want to go to Poland, which I think should be the right thing to do? In as much as they want to do this by Monday, do they want to go to Poland? Because Poland has opened its borders for people to come in. In fact, they even gave well, they are refugees now. They even gave them 15 days visa and some health supplies, addition with food for them to come into Poland and stay for a while. But you also ask, making these road trips, the war is ongoing. How can these guys make the trip to Poland? So they are also saying
the risk is really high.
It's high. Then another side is saying you guys should just stay in your houses, don't go out. Already there is curfew in some places, so it's a tricky one right now. But the government, just like every other government would do, they should just try.
They should do what they can to see how they can salvage the situation. And I've always wondered, what is the effect of this war? Presently, I don't think this war is a positive sign in our world today. And since Russia, that is a superpower, has decided to strike a somewhat a smaller country, and that is almost not a match for them, what do you think this will pose to the rest of the...
Well, first of all, it's about power, which we know. Before now, in the 1930s, Ukraine were so powerful. You even be shocked that they were more powerful than as in Kiev, which is their capital. Kiev was more powerful than Moscow in the early 30s. So along the line, the world wars happened. USSR happened in 1991. The dismantling of USSR. Then along the line, we now had the Putin regime, where he was putting his persons, as in more like people that he can control. People that he can control in governments, different governments, countries around Russia. So you have Viktor Yanukovych, which former president of Ukraine. The guy was more like he was working for, in quote, working for Putin. That's why we have no much issues during his reign. But when this Zelensky came in, yes, he came in to organize his country. He wasn't pro-Russian. So Putin on his own felt threatened. Okay, and mind you, the way the former president was ousted, there was a protest. Okay, and he was ousted, and Putin didn't like it because that was his guy there. Before you know it, Crimea happened in 2014. Russia came to Crimea and hijacked the government there. Told them to run a referendum, which everybody knew. The referendum was like, okay, you guys should choose between Crimea or Ukraine to stay on your own or join Ukraine. And the vote went for the persons that said they want to stay with Crimea, and that happened. Remember, America, the world powers, they were more like, not just the world power. China does not care about this because they're on the side of Russia. They need that oil deal that they have. Okay, and Crimea happened. Going further, Ukraine were like, this Crimea shouldn't happen again. Let us go join NATO. That was where the problem started again. Putin was like, NATO? Why would Ukraine join NATO? That means the European forces will be just by my backyard. And you know they share a very big border with the Russians. Belarus on their own are for Russians. But Ukraine, through that long border, having NATO in Ukraine, meaning that just, you can imagine, just let's just say like Nigeria for instance, just by, where will I say, but just by Niger Delta here, you have American forces just by your corner. Or let's say the Chinese forces just by your corner. So this war is quite complex in the sense that when you look from one angle, you'll be like, if it's my own country, would I want an external force to just be by my backyard? But another thing, Putin is a very smart guy.
Should we say that he's trying to send a message to the rest of the world? Is it?
Oh, sure. So for the fact that he said, okay, number one reason, NATO, but on the other hand, he also mentioned that Zelensky is a Nazist, as in he belongs to the Nazi. But Zelensky is more like, man, I'm a Jewish man. How can I be supporting Nazi? So he's like, the two major reasons he said was he's going to demilitarize Ukraine because their military, they are committing genocide. Mind you, Donetsk and Luhansk are two cities that are made of rebels, in quotes. Rebels more like they want to gain their own independence. So Putin just want to disintegrate these people, which you know that's an easy way to tear up a country or tear apart a country. He wants to use the Donetsk and the Luhansk people, give them their own independence. He already did that before sending the missiles. He proclaimed that they are free, that they can be on their own. Okay? Now he wants to disintegrate these people, just want to reduce the power of Ukraine. He feels threatened. Now I ask, the US, the EU, what are they doing about this?
They seem to be very quiet about all of this. If not for the sanctions that they've been meting out on them.
Please, they should do something. We don't want this to turn to a World War III. This is the right time to come to terms. There's a way to come at the middle, reach a truce, let this war stop. Because if it continues, by the time Putin gets Ukraine, what will happen in Taiwan? Taiwan, where China wants to take over Taiwan.
And not Korea.
Oh my God.
South Korea.
So if Biden does not come out and act, many things will happen.
It's going to escalate.
And if he does not, even with the current situation, if he does not act right now, I'm not sure that he will win the election 2024. Because America will be like, man, this guy can't protect us. And you know what that means. So he needs to come out. He shouldn't just be slapping them on the wrist.
He needs to come out and act the way Americans have been acting before, which is to protect, people that are termed as weaklings. And that's what America has done over the years. And now that this is up, is the right time to speak up. But unfortunately, they've been speaking through sanctions, and Russia does not care about the sanctions.
Why they do not care? Because those sanctions are just minimal. There's a proposal that there's a payment plan, a payment system called SWIFT. With that, if they cut out SWIFT from Russia, transfers will not be happening. And you know these guys, when they sell their oil, you don't carry cash now. It happens by transfer, electronic transfer. So cutting off that electronic transfer will at least make them know that their monies will not get to them. And with that money, you can't fight war. And Russia, come to think of it, they don't have all the monies in the world. They are not as rich as the top guys there, the Chinese and the Americans. So they need to find a way, hit them hard economically, at least. Then show some strength.
Yeah.
Okay?
That
if it means
that you're not just the superpower,
yes,
you're also here.
Bring in. If it means it's just like when Yoruba conductors are trying to fight.
Yes, they never
fight. They never fight, but they are throwing punches on the air.
Yeah.
Okay, so do something. Like you should do something. If you are sending troops, send troops. Okay? If you're sending warplanes, send them. Let them be there. Let them be on and checking.
And presently, the Ukrainian government president has been looking out for help. I saw one of his comments online where he was saying that, oh, he has been left alone.
They are helpless, my brother. You can't compare an army of 1 million persons. The Russians have about 1 million persons and an army of just 100,000.
No, the Ukrainians are no match.
What about military weapons, as in the machineries?
Yeah. They are no match for them. So that's why, like you rightly said, the US government, China is behind Russia, but every other government that can put out their voice, they need to speak now. And not just by sanctions, they need to show some force, like you rightly put it. Thank you very much, Mr. Victor, for giving us this very revealing historical
and please, for Nigeria, what we should learn from this is that we need to fortify our military. Remember, we still have problems at the Bakassi. In as much as there's a song going, okay, on the radio I heard the Bob Marley song, Africans Unite. My brother, you still need to protect your own side. Okay? You have the Bakassi, mind you. So that's also brought my memory about what we talked about last week, about a Nigerian military officer looting money. Money that you're supposed to use to buy equipment, to fortify our military. You're using it to build fuel stations for yourself. A lot has to be done in Nigeria. Please, let's use this as an example. Anything. And what about tomorrow that the Cameroonians, after maybe let's say in the next 50 years, that they get so much power, they can deal with us? Because they are also watching.
Yes. And they're seeing the way we go about, the lackadaisical attitude we put up. When even look at the fight against insecurity within Nigeria.
Yes.
They are seeing all of these things. And one day, one small country will raise their head and
maybe come to Niger Delta and just claim Niger Delta tomorrow.
And then you're really right when you say we need to fortify ourselves and the military. I just hope that our government, they are seeing this, and I hope they are learning the lessons they need to learn from all of this.
I pray.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us this morning and always coming through for us. And our viewers, we thank you for staying with us up till this time. Do well to follow us on our social media platforms. They are showing on your screen. If you follow us, you'll be able to comment and drop your reactions, and of course share this video whenever you can. All right, till next time I come your way again. This has been the News Pere Review, and my name is Williams Abule. Thank you for staying with us.